Trees.
It's no.
And today we are getting into our review of Ready to Love, the reunion part 1. So I'm sure it's going to be real messy and it's going to be a lot of shade. So let's get into it, y'all. And please make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe.
Yes.
And let's get shady. The reunion, Tommy opens up with never before seen footage and basically says it's time for the kids to go to bed. So he starts off with kidney touching Tori, my bad.
All the sexual innuendos that happen throughout this season.
And well, yeah, but he starts off with kidney touching Tori and his conversation when he first met Joy in the beginning, as well as the conversation that he had with Precious about basically how he likes to touch kidneys. And we all knew that.
Apparently he's the kidney smasher.
Advertising.
I said apparently he's the kidney smasher.
That's the word in these streets.
Well,
Wiley talking to Ace about how well endowed he is. This apparently was never seen before footage. And
because they wanted to keep him innocent.
Yeah, because we definitely didn't see that.
I was in shock when I saw that.
I mean, we knew that Wiley had a Wiley eye, but we definitely didn't anticipate seeing that side of Wiley. So
and we all remember Paul welcoming Carmen to his pickle.
Right.
She had no problem taking bites.
Then we cut to Dakia discussing her gag
reflex.
So yeah, it was a lot of sexual endos, as we all know.
Tommy says this was really Ready to Love after dark.
Yes,
I think I agree.
So then he asked Carmen, he's like, well, why do you feel like this season was so sexual? And Carmen basically says that they're, all good and grown and they all single, and that's the time when you flirt. When are you supposed to get it out your system?
And their chemistry. She feels like they all had like good chemistry, which I guess was kind of different from some of the previous seasons.
Right. So and she said, sometimes they throw, they throw innuendos out, but you have to catch it. And she said, just like she caught that pickle with Paul. And I said, oh, okay. And everybody can agree that the pickle was caught. So there you have it. So then they asked Tori about, his whole kidney touching reputation. And he's like, well, when nephew Tommy, when you got a woman shaking and and she just, and he was like, no, bro, I don't, nah, you can keep that.
Just because she's shaking does not mean that you're touching her kidneys.
So, yeah, I
want to let dudes know women lie. Okay, women lie.
Indeed, they do. Women do lie. So don't believe the hype. And then nephew Tommy talks about how this season they started off with a smaller bunch and then added more singles as time went on. And then he cut to the scenes of the blind dates and added, everybody that was added to the pot. We first see footage of Carmen and Cornelius for our first two. And then they asked Cornelius, like, how did he feel kind of being the first one? And he says he really kind of didn't know what to expect with the situation. But that he enjoyed himself. It was a bit much, but he enjoyed the process. Carmen, as we know, makes it to the end. So she don't feel no type of way. And then Eric, they asked about his experience being newbie or a curveball. And he basically says that he felt like who he was introduced to, he was happy with. And you could tell Dakia was a bit uncomfortable when they cut the camera to her. And I was like, oh.
She actually intervened and said something nice, which I actually wasn't expecting. She says it was a very nice date and he was a very nice gentleman at the time. I said, it was a little shady.
It was a little shady. They do show AP and Tina introduced, which we know, AP wasn't on there very long. And then we see footage of Tina and Wiley.
Oh, and Tina did say that she did enjoy like the blind date process, but she didn't enjoy it in this process. That basically it was a lot for her mentally, physically.
I felt like she said that was her first blind date, so she did enjoy it. She was just like, it was just in this particular process having to date 5 different people at a time on a time frame. And she said it was mentally, physically, emotionally, what she said psychologically. She said it was just draining. I was like, well, damn, you sounded like you needed real therapy after this process, but whatever, to each his own. And so then they cut to footage of Donovan and his first date with Precious. And so, basically Donovan says that, what did Donovan say? That he didn't know what to expect, but he did realize that you have to be attentive in being at the moment, but at the same time, it is kind of crazy because you are dating several other people at the same time, which apparently this is a thing. What?
Isn't he a cheater anyway? I'm sure he's experienced in that area.
Oh, you're terrible.
I thought it was nice that Paul had his little say so. Paul says in this process, he feels like everyone was a blind date to him. And yes, he got to see their faces and their physical, but until he sat down and talked to you, he can't really see you. And he was going to take his time regardless. Everybody was just like, okay, Paul, all right, that was nice. That was nice. Like he did some open mic night.
I guess. I didn't feel like anything was profound about what he said. I'm sorry. And don't get me wrong, we've learned that Paul can be a little deeper than we think, but I just didn't think that moment was very profound. And then the way everybody co-signed it, like, that was really good answer. I was like,
because they know Paul. I wouldn't have expected it from Paul.
I don't know. I just felt like they were gassing him. And I didn't think it was, I don't know. I just didn't think it was a moment necessary to be gassed. That's all.
For the worst.
Then Sabrina does say that as far as, her experience with adding people to the process, she felt like it was a bit overwhelming at times. However, she did enjoy and felt like the more the merrier. I bet you did.
Did she have the most connections?
I was going to say, with the most connections, I bet you did enjoy adding more to the pot.
So we discussed Truth or Dare. We find out in a never before scene that Wiley was dared to dance on his person. And, he chose Tina because that's who he was feeling at the time. And it looked like he was ready to get dance. He's all behind her, like grinding and giving her the usher dance. I was like, they cut out a lot of these scenes because they knew Wiley was coming off innocent and wanted to keep him innocent to the viewers. Because this is not this well-endowed Wiley and this usher that he's given. We discussed the infamous ear nibble. And apparently everyone was caught off guard. I guess us as the viewers, I know I thought it was going to be Demetrius. And I guess because we get to see things that Tori doesn't, that the cast don't. But everybody thought that it was going to be Tori. And Sabrina feels like part of the problem why Tori got so upset and it was such a big deal is because there were a lot of assumptions made about her connection at the time. She says that Tori shows his affection outwardly and Demetrius basically does the opposite. And previous to
what we saw at the table,
Demetrius pulled her to the side and had a private conversation and let her know how he feels about her and says that he really expects the same in return. He wants her to show her affection as well. So she felt like that's what she was doing. She felt like she was reciprocating what she got from Demetrius. Joy says that the reason why there was an assumption made is because in the ladies' lounge, she said that Tori emerged.
And then Sabrina let her know that I said
that was actually
I was referring to Demetrius. And no, I said that Demetrius had submerged. And basically, yeah.
Did you say submerged?
No, that's what she said. That's what she said. She corrected her and was like, no, I was talking about Demetrius and I said submerged. And Joy was like, yeah.
That she said submerged, not emerged.
Right.
Ooh, Sabrina. Jesus Christ. So
saying it got a little testy between.
It did. It got tense. I was a little. It's like security. Do they got security for ready to? Because it sounds like it's about to go down. Tori basically says, he was shocked too because he thought that Sabrina was going to come over to him. Nephew Tommy even said that he was in shock.
Right.
Joy was like, everybody was. like Sabrina, don't come for me.
Can I just say, I thought this was strange because not saying Joy is not a nice person. And shout out to, the other fish. I ain't mad at it, Pisces. But girl, we didn't know you was this shady.
Yeah.
We saw a totally different side of
Joy. She's a Pisces?
Yeah, Joy's a Pisces.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That tongue is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, like that, not.
But yeah, so
Tori was he was in shock too. He says that if him and Tommy would have bet $100,000, they both would have lost their money. Demetrius says that he wasn't shocked because he's confident, but he did have everybody in his ear telling him that Sabrina was feeling Tori. So, maybe he was caught off guard a little bit. And Laverne, he just wanted to make it clear that it really wasn't his fault. The whole shit that he was getting blamed for with Truth or Dare was not his fault. People picked whether they wanted to say Truth or Dare. So, and Sabrina says, yes, that's true. I'm the one that chose Dare. So, no, it's not his fault.
Well, it wasn't his fault, y'all. We jumped right back into the reunion, y'all, after a short break. And I just found this to be, shout out to Tina. Now, I just felt it was awkward. Maybe you can explain. We see Tina roll up to Keena backstage, and she's like, by the way, I just want to let you know that I blocked you just like I did everybody else on the cast. I need to disengage. I said, Tina.
Did I miss that?
Yes. Yeah, I was just a little surprised at this, y'all. I was like, well, damn, Tina. I mean, it's okay to disengage. I don't know if it's okay to just be, I don't want to say it was disrespect. I mean, I guess it was nice that you told her you blocked her and why.
Waited until they came to ask me. Like, hey, did you block me? Yeah, I did, just like I blocked everyone else. But I mean, to just come up to somebody,
and let her. Courtesy. I don't know. Tina, drop down in the comments to let us know. And
why are you offering somebody courtesy that you blocked? Right?
Who knows? Make sure you guys, if you haven't already, you like
and subscribed.
So then we get into the connection that is Carmen and Donovan. Now, nephew Tommy asked her if she's still, they show their footage and, oh, they're so in love. And, Carmen's ready to see what step 2 is and whatever. So he asked her if she still feels married. And, I still married now. I'm not going to get into that. But
don't tell that to Dr. Nicole.
Right. Okay. And then Tommy asked how they're doing. Donovan says that they're doing well. They're enjoying each other. They're enjoying each other's families and really kind of planning their future together. So they're looking forward to see what's next. And then nephew Tommy says, well, you had several connections. So what was it about Donovan? She says that she's always the bad girl, but Donovan can definitely be a bad boy.
He matches her energy.
Okay. He said she said that the first time she realized that there was something between them he gave her butterflies, as she says, as he had placed her hand on her leg. And that apparently sealed the deal for her because she got butterflies. I said, that just sounded like you needed some. But anyway, she says he makes her laugh and they communicate very well. I do agree with that. I do think their communication is good. And that everything feels very natural and she feels like they belong together. So then, Paul is over there looking all off to the side. So Tommy's like, well, what happened with your connection with Paul? So as we saw during the season, Paul just kind of fell off, I believe, when they went on the retreat. And she says, well, I don't know what happened. It was like we were into each other. And then by the time we got to the retreat, it definitely seemed like he wasn't feeling me.
She just felt like Paul really wasn't feeling her, which we saw.
Right. He wasn't.
He wasn't.
So when nephew Tommy asked Paul, what was that whole situation about? And could he not handle the pressure? And Paul's like, look, right? I can handle whatever she's giving. He just didn't want to handle it.
But to me, what it sounded like was, but she wasn't giving much, because I still had some unresolved questions
about his other connections that he had.
Oh, see, that's not what I got, because I know he kept on saying she was
he was still waiting for, not waiting, but you forget one of his other connections in the house was Tina as well. So when he said, oh, I had other connections and there were unresolved questions, that's why they cut to Tina backstage, because it was like, if I could have known Tina was never going to show up and she would never be here, I think Paul had it in his mind to narrow down and try to be with Tina and try to lock that connection down. But when she didn't show up, I think it just threw off his attitude.
Oh, see, when he said unresolved questions, all I heard was him saying that she's surface level and
that too.
Superficial, basically. And
I think it's a combination.
About both. Okay.
And then nephew Tommy just basically says, asks him if there's any regrets. Paul says that he feels everyone ends up where they're meant to be. Now he asked I don't know why my notes bleeped it out, so I thought it was a bad word, maybe because it thought I said ass and I said ask. But anyway, so nephew Tommy then asked Donovan, how did he know Carmen was the one? And he said when they got to the house, everything started to align between the two of them. He said, obviously, Tina not being there definitely helped push him in Carmen's direction, but he's looking forward to the future and he's not looking.
I agree with that, because that's where we saw their connection grow, was at the cabin.
Right. And but it's messed up, because it's like, would your connection have been the same if Tina would have still showed up to the process?
And it's crazy because both of Carmen's connection was waiting for Tina.
Awkward. So we get into the love triangle. They
started off with it like this, the first part one. Because I know everybody was waiting.
Because we still got some stuff to get into. But they do get into the love triangle between Carmen, Zakiya, and Eric. Now, nephew Tommy asked Zakiya, what happened with this connection? It was very strong out the gate. When they first met, Zakiya says that yes, it was very strong. I really didn't have that strong of a connection with anybody else. And then, they show obviously old footage and clips. And she says, and then she goes into her reiteration, which we saw in the season, about the incident that happened that ended this whole connection.
The prom picture.
The prom picture is what we're going to call it. Prom picture gate. So prom picture gate, right? We know, we just going to briefly run it down. There was a picture, prom pose, or maybe that's a jail pose. That's the jail pose. Prom pose. And and then I guess Eric went a little too high, a little too low. I don't know.
But he did something. There was
something that made her feel uncomfortable. She said, oh my God, I am a lady. I am a motherfucking lady. And you don't touch me like that. She says that she made it very clear. She said it was on camera. Other cast members heard her.
And agreed on the stage that she did say
inappropriate. Mm-hmm. Now, however, Eric does apologize. He does apologize, as we know he did before. And he just says that I apologize. I never meant to disrespect her. That was never my intention. And I don't feel like I misread anything. I felt like what she was putting out, I was giving back. It's basically the vibe that I got from Eric. He felt like he was warranted because of how they had been talking on the phone. Maybe they was having nasty time on the phone and we didn't know, sexy time,
And because they kissed off camera.
So he felt like it was perfectly cool. Whereas Zakiya's like, no, I showed you that I was uncomfortable with that situation. And she says, I think that he misread, like she said, how deep our connection was.
And he had access something that he didn't. He thought he had access to something that he did not.
Right.
Which, just because you guys share a kiss does not mean you get to touch my titties or touch me below the waist. That's not what the hell that means. I don't know where he touched her, but I completely agree. Because I'm flirting with you, or I'm showing you that our connection is getting stronger because we're making steps, you know, to be more intimate, or you know what I mean? Does not mean that you get to
fondle me.
Put your hands wherever the fuck you please.
Eric says he feels like the reason why Takia is so. This is where I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I was very in the middle about this situation. I didn't want to choose sides the whole freaking season. Now, up until this moment is when, and I'm still not choosing sides. I'm gonna say what I think is wrong, or I'm just gonna give my opinion. Eric then goes on to say that basically he felt like, you know, it was the embarrassment of the situation, the fact he shouldn't have done that in front of people. And she's like, no, it's not that. It's not the fact that she was like, but thank God that it was.
But you know what? I think that was part of it. She did say that was part of it because it made her vulnerable to other stuff.
Right.
Because and which means I think that if one motherfucker did it, now if I don't address it in front of everyone, maybe they'll think that it's cool to do that shit.
That's a good point.
But she said what really hurt her was, you know, the aftermath, the manipulation and trying to assassinate her character. Eric was not.
I don't know if y'all know Shade Squad, but there was a whole debacle going on during the season, which I believe I talked a little bit about in one of our reviews, where there were text messages and things going on where he tried to apologize. I give him that. He did try to apologize that same night. But Takia is also true, and she tried to say we need to have a conversation. He said we have nothing to talk about. So all that is factual.
What now, she said was he apologized after his text message saying we don't have shit to talk about.
Okay.
So it gives the impression that somebody sat his ass down and told him that was fucked up. Right. She felt some type of way about it, and then he was like, you know what? You're right. Let me apologize. Because when she wanted to address it, first of all, she said something right when it happened. Mm-hmm. Then he texted her saying, we don't got shit to talk about. After that, and really, the apology that he's giving here on stage doesn't even seem genuine.
I was going to say that as well. It starts to get nasty. He starts to throw out curse words and, you know, this is the bullshit and we not talking about, and he gets real upset instead of just taking accountability.
Yeah, even Paul was like, whoa, like.
And just owning. Everybody backstage was like, dude, you just said you did it and you were wrong.
He was like, because I text you the same fucking night. And Paul was like.
It was a lot of aggression. And all I'm going to say is, Takia, baby, everything happens for a reason. You dodged a bullet. Not saying that Eric is a bad person in any way. He just was not your person.
And you know what? And she still tried to be respectful.
He was still grateful.
She said, you know what? He's a great guy, but he definitely did. And she felt like he made a mistake. But she was like, he definitely did misread that situation. She's not saying he's a nasty individual. He ain't have no business. You know what I mean? She's not going in on him the way he's coming back.
Trying to go in on her and her character. And
she's still protecting his ass.
Right. She's still protecting him. And then, and because we all know if she really felt that violated, Takia could have took it further. She could have took it a lot further, and she didn't. So the fact that he's coming at her with this type of energy, I really didn't like that. And then before they go to commercial, and the next scene is we're gonna talk all about Sabrina and her men. Which I don't know if I necessarily like that, nephew Tommy, how you presented her in that light. That did seem kind of, but we see Joy lean on Eric's shoulder to comfort him.
To console him.
Right? After nephew Tommy realizes that they're not getting anywhere, him and Takia are going back and forth. So he's like, okay, the point is he offended you. You said that you accept his apology. And as Takia said, we can move forward from here. So that's where we left that situation, but it did get a little nasty. And then Joy comes to console him. And I just want to know why.
Sister.
We get to
So
Chanel's spirit animal or spirit.
my Virgo sister.
Her
We're
Virgo.
moving on to
The same way I
Sabrina.
love Joy as a Pisces and I could feel her. I get it. Because Sabrina definitely gives Virgo. Like knowing her, I'm like, oh, I get it.
I feel like that was a little bit of a dig after what I said. So nephew Tommy says, you know, is Sabrina the queen of hearts or the heartbreaker? She's definitely not the heartbreaker. Okay, sir. She just saw red flags, okay, and can recognize them. That's what it is. So we see that her first connection was Demetrius. Then, you know, she felt like Tori had an edge on him because he was transparent. And then, you know, she was ready to sleep with Donovan the first night because that was the best date she ever been on.
And let me just say, what we didn't touch on is that prior to us even getting on stage, Donovan is outside or backstage acting like he's amping up for a boxing match. We got Clifton and Joy in his corner, oiling it, putting the water on, like it was real extra, right? But you can clearly tell that there's cliques that have developed. And I don't know how Sabrina got on the end of this, but hey, it is what it is. Because I thought she was
you need to be getting ready for a fight, Negro, because don't nobody like snitches.
Right.
Okay. So then we see the clip where, you know, Sabrina lets Tori down easy and tells them, you know, that she feels like they're just friends. Then where we see her and Donovan, and they kind of lost their connection. He tells her that, you know, he's gonna pursue his connection with someone else. And she's like, you know, I think that's the best idea. And then she broke it off with Demetrius. And I did say to Trace, I was like, that is some Virgo shit to have 3 connections and then decide
you have the most connections and leave with nobody.
You don't want to fuck with nobody. That's some Virgo shit. It is what it is. Okay. You ain't
I choose myself.
You ain't meeting our expectations, goddamn. Fuck. So he does, nephew Tommy does ask Sabrina, how does it feel to have so many connections all at one time? And then Carmen is like, how many of them is out there?
How many you got out there?
More than you had. Because who was choosing you first? Whose first choice were you?
Well,
crickets. Even the man you with, you wasn't his first choice.
Well,
wasn't he waiting on Tina? I'm just saying.
Oh.
So
I ain't got nothing to say.
You know, basically Zakia and so Sabrina, you're up here throwing stones now. I mean, you know, he knew some things. I guess, you know, Sabrina might be mad, okay? Because she came out and said that, you know, Donovan told her that had he came into the process earlier, he'd have been. And you know, Donovan over there looking crazy. Look, Precious and Zakia intervening. Like, yeah, he told me that too. He's like, all right, Golden Girls. Precious was having it. She was like, who? Sir, you did say that. Calling Golden Girls with your whack ass. I said, and Joy is over there. Like, what? Me? What?
Well, she was backstage, but she's like, no, not me. Girl, Joy, you knew everybody wanted you. It was a Pisces thing, girl. Everybody wants you. Everybody wants you. You knew that. Don't fake the fun.
She was definitely hyping it. She was definitely, you know, giving I want to be down. Like,
just saying. It was given.
It was given. So then they talk about when Demetrius was let down not so easy. And you know, Sabrina decided not to leave and you know, move forward with him. He says, you know, it stung a little bit. You know, he wasn't gonna jump off a cliff or nothing, but you know, it stung. And I can understand because they're literally like, it's just them 2 left. I mean, who else you leaving with? And she's like, no.
Not with you.
My love is not here. Okay.
Now, what we didn't see or what they didn't tell you, Sabrina out here, we didn't understand. Nephew Tommy says, well, he wanted you to meet the family. That was super important. Why did you make that decision? And Sabrina lets us know. And remember, I do feel like last review, I was so confused by like, why would she, like, this is a part of the show. Like, why would she decide to go so off track and not meet the family? And we learn that Sabrina apparently, or no, I'm sorry, not Sabrina, Demetrius had went and talked to his mama after having a conversation with Donovan, who told him that him and Sabrina, Donovan and Sabrina had kissed off camera, y'all, and we didn't know about it. And they were kissing a few times. And he ran and snitched. And that's why he said that shit at the, and he was like, you ain't being true to me and Demetrius. Why are you over here defending another man about your connection? Anyway, but that's what the it was about. Because he done ran and told Demetrius that, yeah, I didn't kiss Sabrina. And she ain't told you. So, of course, he feels slighted. But then Demetrius decided he got to have a conversation with his mama about it.
Before talking to Sabrina about it. So Sabrina said, fuck it. You just trash talking me. Who's your mother? A woman I've never met before. You want me to go meet her? I completely understand. I get it.
I understand.
I get it. Well, we in a whole process, dude. This, I'm not your girlfriend. Why are you going to snitch to your mama about me?
That wasn't cute.
So nephew Tommy says, you know, if you could change anything, what would it be? And she says that she would have told Demetrius because that's what he wanted. He wanted it to come from her rather than another source. And she says
she would have never kissed Donovan. She said all the good kiss was good. It wasn't.
It was not worth the trouble. And Donovan says, finally, something
we can agree on something. And I said, y'all,
because the whole time they were showing y'all little scenes together, you all smiling and shit. You fucking smile. So you know you're fucked up.
You know what? I hate to say this. It's weird because I do like Donovan. But he gives me, he gives me like petty female energy that I don't like. I don't know. Like the fact that that's why I don't think I liked it with Eric when I saw it. Like that petty female energy. Like I feel like a grown ass man is like, I'm not going to go back and forth with with a woman on this level. Like I don't have time to be petty. This is what it is.
Yeah, like we can have a conversation. We can discuss it. We can get to the bottom of it.
But I don't have to take digs. I don't have to, I can't do that with men. That's where even as a woman, if I see that in a man, I would be like, all right, let's end the conversation because this ain't gonna go well. This ain't gonna go well. Like, yeah.
Especially with that mouth.
Especially with that mouth. You don't know what this mouth do, okay?
Even if you got the petty female energy, at the end of the day, you're not a female and Treese will get in that ass.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we move into the Laverne corner, okay? And nephew Tommy wants to talk about whether Laverne feels like he is confident or cocky. And we see clips of him showing very much confident. I don't see anything wrong with cocky because to me, he gives me cocky as well.
I like cocky as long as it's not arrogant. I think there's a difference between arrogant and cockiness. Yeah,
I love cocky.
I know I'm confident and I have a reason to be, and I have things to support that. So I can move a certain type of way and talk a certain type of shit because now arrogance is just I'm an asshole because I can be.
Mm-hmm. Then we see a clip, a never before seen clip of a date with him and Ace. And I thought it was cute because he says he's old school. He's the type to do the yes or no box. And he writes with mustard on a plate. He's like, I'm gonna give you your answer, okay? This is your answer. It's yes. Damn it. Ain't no. And she's like, yes. Like she agreed. I thought it was super cute. And he basically says that he doesn't feel that people really took the time to get to know him. And the people judging him don't even know his middle name. I said, okay, all right, okay. Laverne says that we are all salt and the light of the earth. And God don't make no junk. And he just accepts his awesomeness. And some people don't. He just can't help that. I said, well.
living your truth. Living your truth.
I don't remember. What's the dude? Is his name Bob? I don't know. Look, he was popping collars for him. Okay?
Right, just pop your collar. I ain't got to pop it.
He also says that he's not saying nobody on stage is not dope. He's just the dopest. And I really feel like everybody should feel like that about themselves. So
Right.
I don't feel like he is just overly anything. I think he is confident and cocky. I don't see anything wrong with that.
And I hate to say it, but you saying that's probably why him and Carmen got along so well. Because to me, outside of her taking digs at the women, I really don't have an issue with Carmen feeling the way she does because she's just confident because she's cocky. I mean, she has a reason to be cocky because of everything that she's done.
So basically, we find out that Laverne did try to continue to pursue Ace after the process was over, after he left.
And things did not work out, apparently.
Ace says that she was looking for a substantial relationship, and that is not something that he was able to give her. She even blocked him on social media, and she said that she was not going to put energy into a ground that is not giving
cultivated
that same cultivation. I said, well, and at least Laverne took responsibility for that not working out. But he feels like it can be fixed. And if you saw me ask Ace, hey,
is there a chance that
like
this work out?
Continue things with Ace? And she says, that's to be determined, but we thinking that's now. Then we move on to the conspiracy, and I am a little bit confused, so bear with me, y'all. He says that Ace told him that Carmen, Sabrina, and Christina were trying to vote him off, and she was told by Precious. Okay.
Now, this is what he's referring to when he gets eliminated by Sabrina and why he pops off. We didn't understand where this extraness was coming from. And he's like, oh, ask your friend. This is what we break down at this point. So we did kind of know that there was some type of, or at least what they made it seem like there was some type of plot amongst a group of ladies to eliminate Laverne because there was just nothing there. Romantically for them.
But from what I understood was the main one who was really trying to plot was Carmen, from what Precious said. She said that she was trying to, I guess, force Christina and Sabrina to make a decision. And Sabrina just felt like, yeah, there was no connection. And Christina never really gave an answer. And Christina was like, yes. That's right. Because
make sure you put some respect on Christina's name.
When they mentioned her name, like me,
right?
How the fuck did I get in the middle of this? And then, so Precious is trying to clear up that, and in the midst of that, her and Laverne just kind of have a back and forth, and really, you don't know who's saying what because they're just going back and forth. They are just like going at it. You're a narcissist. I said it to your face. Security. I don't feel like none of the.
Can I tell y'all, Precious was all the way turned up. Okay, Precious was here for it. She was like, no,
not today.
I'm giving you narcissists all in your face.
But you know what? I feel like she might have this energy because of how she was portrayed the entire season. And she could be, a little pissed off and, even at the men on the show because, they all had something to say. They all had something to say about Precious.
But basically, we see them cut. That's the end of part 1. And yeah, Precious said, y'all gonna put some respect on my name. Stop playing with me. Right. Thank you guys so much. Please make sure that you like,
you comment,
you subscribe,
and you hit the notification bell.
And please catch us next week for part 2, y'all, because Precious is all the way turned up again. And apparently Demetrius
gets called out
about it.
She gets called out on it.
Right. She gets called out. She's acting real Jocelyn in this. No, because you know how they always talk about how Jocelyn was high. I'm just saying. So, no. So yeah, we see that. We see Joy going off on Takia. So I would love to see what this energy is about, my fellow Pisces. She let that other fish come out. That barracuda came out and said, you got me fucked up.
Well, I know Pisces don't play about their man, and it looked like it was a conversation about Clifton.
So. And that's what, when I saw it, I was like, that's why the other fish
you understand?
I was like, that's why that shark came out. Keep fucking with her. We can be Free Willy, bitch, or we can be Jaws. Which one you want to do? I'm just saying. It's however you want it. But make sure you guys tune in, and we'll catch you next week. Maybe we'll have some outfits for you, some looks, but we'll see. But anyway, you guys have a good night, and we'll catch you next week. Love you. Bye-bye.
Mwah.
Front, back, side to side. Make sure you go like and subscribe. Front, back, side to side. Make sure you go like and subscribe. Hey!